If you went to an interview and this particular data is what you are given to actually make sense with, and the question says, how can you use Excel to analyze this particular data and make it ready for decision making? What would you do? Do you prefer creating a chart like this or something like this? So today I'm going to show you how to actually make sure you answer that particular question with this kind of analysis using this chart and all of that. So over here, I can decide to show the top sales reps with a different color highlighting those particular top 3 sales reps I want to highlight. And not just that, you can decide to go to the ones that are some kind of underperforming. And here you go. Conditional formatting is happening right here. I'm going to show you how to achieve every single thing. So if we come back here, the color changes, and as well, this particular color changes based on what we have on highlight. One other beautiful part of this is that right here, we are seeing the full value. We can decide to show the formatted one. Can you see 24.3 million? And if we come back right here, we still have the same thing here. Based on approximation, this one now is 24.2. Can you see? So now if you want to see the percentage instead of the values, you can click over here and it is going to switch you to the percentage number formatting. So what about this? So over here, based on the highlights, as you can see, it says Peter, Greg, Olivia Roberts, and Lucas Gray generated 71.7 million, which accounts for 43.4% of the overall sales, with Peter Gregg ranking first among 12 sales reps. Can you see it right now? This changes based on whatever we actually choose from here, and this is exactly what it is. So everything is actually done 100% using Microsoft Excel. So on the screen are the functions we're going to be using to actually create this very project. So the very first thing I would want you to do for me before we start this particular class, if you have not subscribed before, please do that, like and comment. I just want you to comment. Let me know what you feel about this. So let's get started. All right, over here, this one cannot do it for us. We can go ahead and delete this and start from the scratch. So to get started now, what I'm going to do is to actually come over here and just put in label, right? So if I have this over here now, I'm going to actually come over to here and highlight this particular part to create my chart. So go over to insert, and here's the chart I want to use. So make sure you clean up your chart and make it free from those unwanted axes and all of that. Even this is going to go off. So for the time being, I'm just going to have this particular chart here. Then if I should turn on the data label right now, this is what we have. It's not actually readable. So we want to actually control what we see. Maybe sometime we want to see the formatted one. And if any of our bosses actually like to see this kind of value, we want to actually present them with it. And again, whoever wants to see a percentage that represents every single revenue that each of the sales rep actually generated, we want to give them that privilege. So let's do it. So I'm going to drag this one below here for the first time. Then over here is where we have to, first of all, let me shift this one to here. And now this is going to be percentage of revenue. So to calculate the percentage of revenue, what we need to do now is to actually come over here and put our equal sign, take this number and divide it by the sum of this whole number. Then you close. Now, because I want to actually copy down, all I need to do is to make sure I lock this down here. So using my F4 key, I have this locked down. In case your F4 key is not working, make sure you surround the columns. Like we are on column C, we are actually taking it from column C. Surround the column C with the dollar symbol. Can you see it right here? That would actually do the work for you. Okay. The next thing is for me to actually copy this down. And with my Ctrl+1, I have this. I can go to my percentage and decide to just click on OK. So we have percentage that represents every single sales reps. right away, we cannot use this. So if we decide to actually say we want to see X, Y, and Z when this happens, now it will not work. So what should we do next? So the next thing is that what we want to see, we want to actually create a switch. So I'm going to go over to the top ribbon, developer, and over here we see insert. In case you don't have developer here, all you have to do is to right click on the top ribbon and just go to customize the ribbon. Now you have this. If your developer is unchecked, make sure you check it and click on OK. That would actually help you to bring it on this particular ribbon part here. Okay, now we're going to go over to here and click on the option buttons. Just drag it down here. And over here, for the time being, I'm going to keep everything at this particular spot. So I'm going to name this one to... So once you actually clear what's inside, I'm going to put this one to formatted revenue, right? So do I have to go and create another one again? I guess no. What do? Hold your control key to actually, select this one and control D to duplicate it. And over here, so all right. So once we have this, it is time for us to actually start working with this. What do we do next? I'm going to actually color a particular cell, maybe somewhere around here. We just have to go to home. Then I always love to use red so that it will signify something very important, danger, if you take it off, right? So we have something like this. So once we have this, the next thing I'm going to do now is to right click and go ahead and say form control, then link it to this cell and click on OK. All right, this is the third one. I have 3, I have 2, I have 1. So one bonus I'm going to give to you right now, because I'm a lazy person, I hate locking cells. If I have my chance, I wouldn't do it. So to actually prevent that from, occurring every single time, what you need to do is to make sure you go to the top ribbon, click on view and turn on the formula bar. Here you go. So make sure this cell here is selected. Go over here and just name this one to option B tier, right? So now, even though if I am somewhere around here, you can just click over here and that will actually jump me back right here. So I don't need to lock any cell when the time comes. All right, we now have this one right now. We're going to be using this particular buttons right here to create our switch. So what do we do next? All right, before we begin anything, I want you to look at this particular number right here. This will help you to understand the whole logic. Any number from 1 to 999 do not need any special number formatting. Do you understand now? If you look at here, we have number formatting right here. If I should actually just do, 100 here now, there is no number formatting on this particular 100. So I'm going to control Z to bring it back to the right value. So now take note of that. So over here, we have what we call less than 1,000. So which means if something is less than 1,000, it's within this particular range. You understand? So we now have this particular one that says less than 1 million. We're going to be dividing it by 1,000. When it is less than 1 billion, we're going to be dividing by 1 million. So otherwise, we can just do a default division by just 1 billion. Don't worry. If this place is not giving you joy yet, as we start creating our label, you will understand everything I'm trying to say. Okay, now we are here. It is the high time we start doing this. So what comes first? The percentage comes as the third one. Why you want to start with a percentage? Which is something very simple. So now take note that the percentage has number of what? Of 3. I'm going to put 3 here to remember it. So the full value here has number of 2. Put 2 here to remember this number. And this one is actually 1. So now, if I put my equal sign here, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to actually say if this particular 1 right here is equals to 3, So which means is this particular, percentage of revenue here. So what do I want? I want to format this particular percentage. So how do I do that? I can use a function called the text function here. So with the text function, is asking me for the value. This is the value right here. If I put my comma, it's asking me for format text. So I'm going to do inside here 0.0%. So if you want to have the 2 decimal places, you can put another 0, which is optional. I'm going to take it off. Then now do this and have it closed. So we have just fulfilled the first one, if it is true. Now for if it is false right now, we don't want to give it any false value yet. We are going to use another if. Remember, you can use the nested, we are using nested if right now. You can use ifs to have this done. It's actually your own choice. Now, we are going to actually reference this again, and this one again. And this time around, if it is equal to 2, that means we're going to have a different formatting right now. So the formatting should go with the text function again. And we're going to reference this particular one right here, comma. We don't have to lock this one down because we want to copy it down. So once we have the comma right here, inside double quotes, we're going to do hash, comma, hash, hash. And we do this, we close. This will give us what we want. So if it is false, just go ahead and give me nothing but blank. Let's close and hit the enter key to see what we have done for now. So I'm just going to copy this down here. And if I go over to the percentage, here you can see this on percentage. So if you look at it, it's not actually quite on the right percentage. What is going on? Let's double click. Over here, we have to make sure we put the percentage format here. Can you see? It gives us what we want. So because we chose to actually see one decimal number, we are seeing this and it's a bit different from this. So let me make sure it gives you exactly what we have sitting there. So can you see it now? This is cool, right? All right, let's just use it to update this very chart we have right here. If I bring this chart up right now, I can click over here. I'm gonna bring it down a bit. Okay, let's keep it here and just bring this inside a bit. Okay, so with this chart here right now, make sure you click on this particular one, turn on your data label, click on this particular ones and Control 1. Once you've done that, make sure you come to where it says label options and click on value from cell. Then once you have it, make sure you take it this way and highlight this. So click on OK. So the next thing you need to do is to make sure you drop this one, uncheck it. And let's go. Here we go. So can you see that now? So every single time there is some kind of, changes, we now have something like this. If one is selected right now, there is nothing on one, is blank. So for that, it's giving us blank because we have not specified what we want when there is no, when it is not 2 or 3. Okay. Now this one is working quite well. So let us drop this down and focus on what brought us here. Okay. If you look at it, when I select 2, I have this. Let us see what we are trying to achieve. On this particular part, we can show the formatted one. So what we have achieved is this one and the percentage. So when this one is selected, you can see the whole value. So if our boss is not interested in seeing this, maybe he's not a number person, he just wants to see the summary of it, we try to show the formatted revenue, which is going to be in this particular 24.3, 7.4, 9.2, and 11.3 and others, right? This is what you're trying to achieve. To achieve this is just going to be something very simple, but you have to pay attention to this. So now we are back here. All we have to do is to make sure we update this. So I'm going to take off this, double click again, take off this particular part. So close and hit your comma. So where it says if it is false, what do we need to do? Now we are going to be using a different function. We don't want to use if function or keep using the if function over and over again to be some kind of too complicated to understand. Let me introduce you to the switch function inside Microsoft Excel. So with the switch function now, using the switch function, So for the expression here, we're going to put it true, and we'll put a comma right in it. So sorry, the true is here. Here we have the true. Yes, yeah, we put a comma right on it. So the true now switches to the first value. It's now asking us, what do we want to do on the first value? This is where you have to pay attention to what we have right here. So in that case, for the value now, what you're going to do is to actually click on this particular revenue here. So and ask, is this particular number less than 1,000? Which is it in this particular group? Right? Then if that is the case, we want to format it using the text function. Text function. So we reference back this very one. We put a comma right on it. Inside this, we're going to do hash, comma, hash, hash, and we'll go ahead and close. So we have just satisfied that result. Right? Then we put our comma to switch to the next one. Then it's going to do another check again. So this time around, it's going to check for this particular one. If it is what? If it is less than 1 million. Can you see? If it is less than 1 million. So we are actually doing this now. Can you see? This particular part here. If it is less than 1 million, what do we want? Then, if that is the case, we put a comma right on it. For the result, we want to use the text function. Please, if I say for the result, I'm looking at this particular part right here. It shows you what you need to do next. So using the text function here, so what I will do is to make sure I reference this and divide this by what? By 1,000. Do you get that now? Put a comma right on it. And over here, we're going to do, let's do 0.0. And here we go. We're close. So because this is going to be on 1,000, it's less than one, whatever is less than 1 million is going to be maybe 2,000, 3,000, 9,000, wherever, and all of that. So what we need to do now is to actually format this as 1,000. Inside here, we're going to do ampersand and K in capital letter. And here we go. We have this, and we have just satisfied this. We put a comma, now value 3. So we have satisfied the first one here, the second one here. Let's go to the third one. So for the third one here, we are going to say if this particular number right here is less than 1 billion. So make sure the zeros are correct. So if it is less than 1 billion, what do you want? We put a comma on it. We use the text function again. And this time around, we take this number and we're going to divide it. We take the number and have it divided by what? By 1 million. So can you look at it now? So less than 1 billion, we divide it by 1 million. So once that is done, the next thing we do is to put our comma right here. We put 0, I think 0.0. Here, 0.0. We close this. We close this here. This is going to be on million. So we're going to do in capital letter. And we've satisfied this, right? So the last one right now, if you have your numbers up to billion, you have to apply the same logic to get that. So let's say we are stopping at just, million, at just billion, not up to trillion. So what we need to do, because we don't have trillion, to satisfy it, we can just do a default division without doing something otherwise again. So what we're going to do right now is just for we to put our comma right here and say, if that is the case, just text, then reference this particular number right here and straight to divide it by billion. So 9 zeros is what makes a billion. So we have done that. We put a comma right here. Inside here is going to be 0.0. We close this and we have this closed. And in here is going to be this ampersand and B here. That is all we need to do. We close. Okay, now we have this. If I just go ahead and copy down, we have copied everything down. Let us move it right there and see if this works when I actually select the formatted revenue. It works 100%. Can you see it right now? This is what we have. This is what we have. The full revenue, the percentage, and the formatted one here. This is what we have. Please take a look at this very well for you to understand how we did it. It's very important. So you might be thinking, where do I need to use this? There are several situations where you would need to actually create a kind of formatting like this. So we can't just do our regular, or should I call it default number formatting, that you can actually quickly go over to, highlight the area, Control-1, and you come over here to go for accounting currency, and even the custom one here cannot help you to do this, right? So if you look at something right now, this particular column here is not more number. It is now a text. If you want to verify if that is true, so just say is number. So is number right here will tell you it's not number, which is going to be false. So can you see everything sitting on this column is actually not number. This is it. So it's now a text. So that is it. That was why we did not use it to create our chart, because if you try to create chart with this one by highlighting here, hold your control key to highlight this one and try to create a chart with it, there is no way it's going to work. Can you see? It will not work. So first of all you need to do is to make sure you create your chart with this one, just like what we have done. Then instead of you using this particular one as your data label, you switch it to this one and it works 100%. All right, this is exactly what you need to know. Coming back right here, right now, we have achieved everything right here. Aside the design right now, we have achieved how this is actually being created. So what if we want to create this highlight? That gives you the ability to change the color of what you highlighted. Can you see? A different color for the top sales reps. And for those ones that are some kind of underperforming, we have different color for them as well. So how can we create something like this? This is the next part of our class. So let's do it. I can delete this one right now. There is no point keeping it here any longer. So delete. All right, the next thing I'm going to do now is to make sure I add two columns to it. So let us have this one taken down a little bit right here. So the first column I'm going to add is going to be the top. And here, this one is going to be the bottom. Right? So we have this. So this is where the whole thing gets very tough. What happens if I try to create another, option button again? Won't there be problems? Yes, of course, there will. Let's quickly go back to developer and click over insert and pick up the option button and just keep it right here. And on this one, I'm going to actually type in the top for now. Let us use top to be very easy for you to identify. So top. So with the top here, can just make it a bit smaller, and we can duplicate it and keep this one inside here. For a reason, make sure it's inside the box. So click on this one and adjust it and make sure it's sitting inside this particular cell. Okay, on this particular one, you can just go ahead and type in bottom. So if you look at it right now, this is what we have. I want to make sure I keep everything between here. So what happens if I decide to select this one? It disallows everything from here. It's now adding 4 instead of the 3 we had previously. Can you see 5? And nothing is happening here except if I come over here. Okay, maybe your thought would be like, why don't you link this to a different place? Okay, I think I love the idea. Let's do it. So we go to home, we select this again, and we just do our style. So we come over here, we decide to just right click and form control. We just feel like taking this and keep it right here. Click on OK. So the issue now we have is that this particular chart is not going to function any longer. If I click on this right now, Can you see? The chart is not changing. It has actually, deactivated these buttons from this particular chart, and everything is focusing on this particular part, which if I select this one now, you have it here. Select this one, select this one. Okay, I want it to have those ones back. But before then, let me show you how to solve this problem. So what you need to do to make sure this one is actually independent is to go back here. Before then, click over this and look at where they actually, start from and where they end, right to this particular end here. So once you've done, let's go over to here and click on developer. Click on insert. You're going to see this particular one here that says group box form control. Click on it. Let's make sure we surround it with this one here. So you can click on this particular one here that says group box 6 and take it off. Here we go. We have this. So this time around, this one is going to be disconnected. It's now disconnected. Likewise, this one is disconnected. Let us first of all connect this one back to where it should be. Form control. And we come over here. We connect it right to this particular part. And we click here. That is okay. So now it's not functioning for anything. Not even for this one. So excuse me. So if I click over here, this one is still connected to this one. So what do? Let's right click on this one. And form control. We change the connection to match this particular part and we click on OK. So now this one is now functioning. So when I select this one here, can you see it's just 2. So it's not more, interfering with what is going on right here. This is another thing you need to understand to master Microsoft Excel. All right, we have this now. It is time for we to create a particular part that actually helps us to highlight, which is very simple and easy. Okay, over here the very first thing I'm gonna do is to actually create some numbers here. Let's create number from 1 to 3, right? So here is gonna be the serial number. So over here I'm gonna call this one, let's call this one sales rep, just rep here, and call this one value, right? So what I'm going to do right now is that I want to shift this and I want to shift it at once. What do I do to shift it? So to do that, go over to home and come over to this particular find and select. You select this particular select object. So just do this. You can move it to the top here for the time being. Now it will not disturb anything. It's working fine. So here we go. We have this. So I'm going to call this one top sales persons. All right. So we are going to duplicate this same thing over here. Copy. We paste this one over here. Instead of us to put top here, so we rather put the bottom salesperson here. All right. So how do we do this? We have a function that could actually help us to get this done. And that function is called the large function. So the large function now will be used to retrieve the largest number from the revenue. So which is going to be equals large. And the large function will be looking for the array. Here is the array. So you can hold the F4 key down to make sure you lock it. Then comma. So are you looking for the first largest, the second largest, and the third largest? I'm looking for the first down to the third. So you actually come over here and click on this. Close and hit the enter key. Then you can copy this down. Right? So we have done it now. This is what we have. So what we want now is that we want to see who are those sales reps that actually, have these numbers. We want to know who are those sales reps. So what we need to do is to use the index function. With the index function now, it's looking for an array. Array means where is what you want to retrieve into this particular cell you typed in your form function right now, sitting. So that is going to be from here. right? So you put a comma right in it, but before then, because you want to copy down your F4 key to lock it down, comma. So now you want to actually look for the position, right? Let me just move this one a bit down. The position, how to get where this particular number is and retrieve the person that has the number, we can use the match function. So with the match function, it's asking for lookup array. So what can we use to retrieve something from this particular column? So we can't click over here, click here, and your up arrow will shift it and highlight that particular part for you. Then you put a comma right on it, and lookup array is this very one here. So once you have done this, your F4 key to lock it down, then comma, exact match 0, we close for our match, close for our index, we hit the enter key, and it retrieves this for us, right? So we have this, copy down, right? So if I want to actually, expand my columns without affecting this and affecting my chart, what I need to do is to click on this and Control A to highlight all objects, so that if I affect my rows and columns in terms of the width, it won't affect my object. So I Control 1, I go over to here, I click on properties, I presume. Yes, this one says don't move or size with cell. Now, by the time I come over here to expand this a bit, this is not affected and nothing is actually affected. This is what you need to do. All right, the next thing we have to do right now is to make sure we do the same thing for this one. So what I need to do right now, I can just go ahead and Control C to copy and Control V to paste this right here. If I double click right now, it's not doing the right thing. So click over here, and this one, I think is working. Okay, now this is actually working. It's no more looking at this particular part, but we have to change this particular large to small. So if I hit my enter key, I now have different value and different person. So all I need to do is just to copy this down. Can you see it right now? This is what we need to have. All right, so we want to actually create the part of the highlights we want to actually use to get things done right here. And to do that, we're going to be using the if function to get that done. So let's see what we're going to do. So over here, this one quickly, I would love to actually just make sure I create a name range for it, which is optional. To escape cell locking, I just go over here and I just say top, bottom, btn. All right, that is good. So I'm going to come over here now and say, you know what? If this particular one right here is equals to 1, which is this particular one here, then what we want you to do for me is just to use VLOOKUP to check who are those and retrieve the values from here. So how do we do that? So we're going to say VLOOKUP. So with the VLOOKUP right now, let us move this down. The VLOOKUP is looking for the lookup value. So our lookup value now should be what? Our lookup value should be this very one here, comma, and the table array should be something from here, comma. So column number or index number, what column do you want to retrieve something from? 1, 2 is 2, comma, 0 for exact match, and we go ahead and close. All right. So once we have done that, we put a comma right on it, and it says, what if it is false? What do we want? We just want nothing. Just put two double quotes and hit your enter key. This time around, we can copy this down to this level. Okay. Because it is not equal to 1, nothing shows up. Let's do this. And now we have something like this. So what is happening? Can you see something? Something is wrong. We ought to have seen those three numbers here. We're only seeing 1. And that was because we did not let some kind of lock a particular part of it. That was because we did not lock a particular part of it. So if I double click here right now, this one shifted. That is wrong. So what we need to do right now is to double click again And over here on this particular part, we just have to make sure we click our F4 key to lock it down, hit your enter key. And now let's go ahead and copy this down. So we have these three numbers appeared right here. This is what we want. Okay, the next thing is to Ctrl C to copy and Ctrl V to paste right here. If I double click right now, all I need to do is just to move this one and put it right here. Hit my enter key and let's double click. Here, there is nothing showing up, right? So let us quickly go over and change this one. Nothing is showing up. Here we go. So what do you think is the error? Can somebody guess before I do it? I think somebody's trying to guess what the error should be. Okay, now if I double click on this, I have to change this one to true. All right. So if there's 2, it should be cleared because there is no selection. Let's quickly go and make selection. We have a switch. So we have a switch now. Still, the problem is not solved. What seems to be the problem? That was because there is a shift of this one, right? So what do? We should have done a cell lock in there, but no problem. We can just go ahead and take this one and mount it back to where it belongs. Hit my enter key, and this time around, I double click, I have 3, and we have everything we want. Can you see the switch right here? So we can do everything in one single cell, but because we want different colors for the top and the bottom right now, we just have to do this. Okay, we now have this. So before we proceed, we need to do something. We want to actually see what color do we want to use. Okay, so let me pause it right here and go quickly to this particular one here and name this one to results. So with the result now, I'm going to come over to this particular part and turn off everything from here. So we have this. So we want to quickly create a background to actually give our results some kind of good look. So what do we do? Should we use dark or bright, version? I don't know what it is. So let's quickly go ahead and Ctrl A, go to this particular part right here, click on home, and over here we click and let's go with this very one. All right, we have this. And the next thing we need to do is to come over here and Ctrl X to bring this result over here, and Ctrl V to drop it here. So we can keep our results right here and just extend this like this, right? So once we have done that, we can just Ctrl 1 and do something like this. It's all your choice. It depends on what you really want to achieve. So I just want to have something like this, right? So with this right now, the next thing I have to do is to make sure I some kind of match the color of this one to this particular color. So I click over here, click on the border, I turn off the border, click on fill color, go over here, and I use the same color. Then we have this. So if you look at it right now, it's not making any sense yet. So let us click on data label we have here. And for now, text options, let's go for the data label. You want to use something like this. And we want to make sure the data label is bold enough to show up. So we want something like this. So this one here should be touched as well. Let's go with this one. So let's go over here and increase this. Not too much. Like this will be okay. Okay, once we have done this now, let's quickly move this over here. So I hate seeing this particular white that underlines it. So what I need to do is to either reduce it or remove it. So let us click on it. And over here is going to be under this axis here. So under here. So let's go with the color of the line. Scroll down. The color of the line, we can select this color. So it has reduced it, but not quite well to my satisfaction. So make sure what you're selecting is below here. It will give you what you want. So we go back and we choose this one. Oh no, sorry. We have to scroll down and we choose this very one. This is what I want actually. Okay. If we have gotten this right here, the next thing we have to do right now is to agree on the color to use right here, right? Well, let's quickly go up here and click on Insert, Illustrations. We go to Shapes and we pick up this very one, drag it down here and keep it somewhere around here. So I'm going to be dropping this one a little bit down. Okay. So I'm going to keep this here. Extend this one this way. All right, something like this is okay for me. I will make sure I do this. So over here, I'm going to change this one. No line. Let's go with something a bit darker. Something like this is okay. You might not know the reason why I'm doing this right now, but don't worry, you will know later. All right, come to this particular website here that says color.adobe.com. So make sure you click on the Explore to explore different colors. The reason why I love this particular website, specifically if you're not actually good at selecting good colors for your project, is that it can help you to mix a color. If you look at it, we have black and we have something like gray. So we want to actually see what's black. So you put a comma right on it. So gray. What other colors could be mixed up with this particular color right here to make it look beautiful? So you can search between here to see what other colors you can actually use to mix it up. So over here, we have different colors we can actually use for our project. Can you see it now? So I'm looking for a color that will be good for my positive and negative value. All right, let us go with this particular color right here. I can trick this particular color to actually create what I want. So first of all, I'm going to go with this particular color for my chart, very importantly. So if we go back now, I'm going to click on this, click over here. I've copied the color code. Let's click over more colors. And over here, we're going to paste this color right here. And okay, now we can look at how it looks. It's like a white color. So you can decide to tweak it the way you want. So over here, you click on more colors and you decide to play around with this to make it a bit darker, right? So let's go with this one. Now this one looks quite well. I think I love this. So if you want to actually blend it more, you can decide to actually reduce the transparency. I'm going to keep that around 40% to 50%. Okay, 50% would look quite well for me. Now I have something like this, right? The next thing right now is that I want to bring the max up here. So I'm going to turn on the top one here. So to bring it in here right now, what we need to do is to right click and go to select data. So click on add. When we click on add, we go back to data here and we just move this. So over here, we want to take this off and select the top one. And over here, we want to wipe this off and select this particular part right here. Then once done, click over to here and click on OK. So we have this. The next thing I'm going to do now is to Control 1 and make sure we put this at 100% overlapping. Can you see it right now? This is what it is. So what next you need to do? Let's go back to this website again. And this time around, our highlight should be this color for our highlight for the max. And it's already clicked on. Let's go over here, click over here and go to more colors. Then we come over here to select and Ctrl V to paste. Then we click on OK. This is what I've done. So highlighted, right? So let's go over to this particular part here now and make sure we select the bottom. So let's go back and actually add this. With the bottom selected, they have disappeared. Don't worry about these particular numbers you have right here. We're going to get them off later after all. So I'm going to right click here and go to select data and click over to add again. Let's go to data here. So this time around, shift this one and select this one here. Over here, make sure this one is removed totally and highlight this particular environment. Then you click on OK. Click on OK right here. So you have it. We're going to change the color. So this time around, we want to use something like this red here to identify that. It depends on the company's color though. The option is actually yours. So once we have done that, this is what I'm going to do. So make sure the highlighted one is selected. You can see they are on different colors. So we go over to here and we click on more colors and we paste that red in here. Ctrl V. We click on OK. So can you see it? Remember, you can decide to actually change the kind of red you see. So you might want something lighter. So let's go to this particular kind of lighter version of it, and we click on OK. Can you see it right now? This is beautiful. Okay, now click on this particular numbers here and delete them away. So this is what we have right now. If I go over here and change to top, then come back here, we are now seeing this, and we just need to click here and remove this one right from here. This one is taking the right dimension that we want. So what are you thinking? In case you're still watching and you have not actually hit the like button, please, I beg of you, do that. Is very important so that the algorithm can push this to other people who want to see it. So do that right now and make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this video. So now it is a high time we add this particular, functionality to it, so that when this one is selected, we should know that what is selected is this one. We want to create a highlight that looks like this, and as well this particular one. Can you see it right now? When we actually make a selection, we know what we're selecting, and this one as well. So to create this is something very simple, but your mind might have never been here before. So let me take your mind quickly right in here. The very first thing we need to do is to make sure, let us go ahead and insert this one. I'm going to call it Conditional Formatting. All right, for the conditional formatting here, I'm going to actually, add here, I'm going to type in formatted revenue. So go some step down and put percentage of revenue. So go one step down and type in full revenue here. So once you have done that, select all of them, go over to home and click on this particular text, wrap text here. So it has been done for me. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just to give it a weight the way I want it. Can you see it now? Something like this would be cool for me, right? So once I have done this now, the next thing I'm going to do is to make sure this particular part here looks equal for every part of it. So I'm going to select this one, hold your control key to select them at once. So double click. Okay, I think that doesn't solve the problem. So what I will do now is to base it on this one first and just take it up a little bit. Okay, this is okay. See, I'm setting the weight right now. So with this weight now, we can check what is it. So let's us raw height. You see how it's 33.5. So we do right click and we do 33.5 as well. So now we have them to be equal. So just select again. Let's go over here and we justify them in the middle like this. Okay, we have to go to this particular part here, which is under our results. Select this and try to verify what color you're using. This is the color we are using right here. So we want to make sure we match this particular color with the background color we have right here. Go here, click on this and select this. This time around, you want to select this particular color for your text. So this is what we want. Okay, so let us come over here, put an equal sign, and let's go to this particular data here and reference this particular one. So let us go back and study something. So over here, this particular formatted revenue is actually 1. So come over here to remember exactly what it is. So formatted revenue, put 1 over here. Then let's go back. This one is 2. Can you see? 2, which is full revenue is 2. So our full revenue here is going to be the 2, and this one will be 3. So make sure you master this very well. So once we have gotten this right now, it is time for we to set our conditional formatting right on this. So click on this particular one, go up here, and let's just base it on the one that will be giving us the result immediately. So let's go to the top and click on home. Go to this particular conditional formatting, and let's do new role. Then use this particular use formula to determine which cell to format. Click over here and check this one and say if it is equal to 2, then do a format for me. Then over here for the font, we want to use black font. So we want to use black font like this one, and we want to make the text to be bold. You get it right now? Bold text. Then the next thing we want to do again is to change this particular background color to white. That is the highlight we want to set for it. So remember this particular one. Can you see? That's been done. Over here, we're going to do the same thing. We quickly go over here, new role again. So we choose this one. We click over here, we select here and try if this one is equal to 3. Then we do the same thing for it. So we want to make sure the background color is white. The font is actually black, and is this black? Be consistent, bold. Then click on OK. Click on OK here. The last but not the least here, we go over here, new role, click on this, and we check this number if it is equal to 1. That is when you go over here to make sure the font is this color, you make it bold, the fill color should be white, and you click on OK, click on OK. So what happens if I go over here now and choose 1? Let's go back and see what we have. It has switched to this particular part. This is what we want, right? Okay, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to over to this particular view here, and the grid line should be turned off. I don't have any grid lines right in it. Do you get it right now? So I'm going to click on this one and Ctrl+C to copy. Let's go over to our results. Make sure you select an empty cell, or you can right click here and go to this particular part and paste as link picture. So we have something like this. We can bring this right here. So when we have this here now, just keep it, and let's go back and take the next one. So let's bring this down a bit. So let's go over here. The next one is this one, Ctrl+C, and over here you can go over to this particular part, click on home and paste. You just get this one. So we'll bring this one over here. The last one is going to be this very one here. Then we pick it, and you can right click, and here we go. So I want this percentage to go last, and this one should come next after this very one here. So what I'm going to do now is to hold my Control key to select all of them, and let's just move this one up a bit. Now hold my Control key to select all of them. Now that you are here, click on this particular part, and we're going to do alignment, distribute horizontally, and do this again, distribute vertically. Can you see? And I'm going to do align to the left, so left alignment. So we have something like this. You can just click on this one now and do something like this to fit it in. So right now nothing happens. So to see the result, let us go ahead and bring these ones here in. So when we fetch this one from here, they get disconnected. So we come back here and connect it, Ctrl X. Over here on our results, we paste them in. So we have this one here now. So this is formatted revenue, which is this particular one. So just hold your Control key to select and delete whatever you have inside it. Just make it as small as you want. Can you see it now? So you bring it and keep it somewhere around here. So click on this one and remove whatever you have inside it. You get it removed, and you just take this one and keep it right here. We're going to arrange it later after all, but don't worry. So we do this again. So we drop this in here. So now what happens when I select this one? Nothing happens, right? It's not working. So right click and go to form control click over here. It's now linked to this particular part, which is wrong. Let us quickly go back to here and link it back to where it belongs. Then click on OK. Delete this one from here. So now you have to make sure you just move this up again above this white color. So can you see it? If I select this one right now, you can actually make sure you move it up a bit. So this is how I got this created. Every single time I click here, it switches and highlights for me. And I believe you have the idea of everything I've done right now. It's very simple. So I can just make sure I bring this closer, right? So with that, I have the opportunity to actually crank this up a bit. So let's make sure this shows up very well. So this is what it is. We have achieved this very one. The next one to be achieved right now is this one right here. So which is this very one right here. Is going to be a little bit tough, right? But don't worry, it's simple and easy. I'm going to show you how you can do it. Okay, what you can do now is to just quickly go over to this particular format right here. Don't do it anywhere around here, do it below. So you can just make sure you go down. So over here, I'm going to have it done here. So I'm going to click here to 1, go down some few steps. Then here should be 2. So where I have my 1 here, this is not going to look cool. Let's move these ones and have them here so that it shouldn't affect the weight I have right here, right? So now I have my 1 here. Don't put it over here, put it over here instead. So I'm going to link this to this one right here. So before we go on, this is what we're trying to achieve, this below one. Can you see it? How can we do this? It's something very simple as well. So let's quickly go back to here. So what you need to remember is having this one. Select both of them to show that they have relationship. We go over here and put it on red, put it on white here, so that people will not come and delete it. I always love to use red to signify that what is sitting here, whatever you do to it, if you delete it, to affect your results. So I have this now. I'm gonna just come here now, and I'm gonna say, sorry, no need of function. Just select an empty place like this. Then go to the top here now, and use this, and click here. If it is equal to 1, that means go over here and do something. So when it is equal to 1, we want to go over to here and copy this same color. We want to be exact. So we want to go to the color here and choose custom. We paste this particular color in here and click on OK. Then click on OK. For the border, go to border, make sure there is no border right here. So click on OK, then OK right here. What is wrong? Oh, sorry. I've not put my 1. So here we go. So I have it now. I have 1 here for me. So we have to quickly go back to the same place again and copy this kind of red color, right? Okay, I forgot. I have to use this one from here. Let's go back and choose to the bottom part of it. Let's go over to this result and copy the color code from here, because we have actually, affected it. So we copy the color code from here. So we have the color code copied. So once we have that, the next thing we do is to come over to here. This time around, I'm gonna go back to the same spot. Let's click over here and new. Click here and choose to say if this one is equal to 2. Then what we want you to do for us is just no border, the fill color more, then custom. So we wipe off what we have here. We'll paste this one in. Then we'll click on OK. So once we have done this now, okay, here, so we have this. So this will definitely switch to whatever we like. Okay, so we have one more to go. Let me quickly show you what it is. So every single time there's a selection, this particular text looks some kind of very, bright and the one that is not selected will not look that bright. So we want something like that. So before we do it, let us quickly achieve this one first. So let's go over again to here, and this time around I want to be sure where this one is. So I'm gonna put something F here. Let me switch. Okay, under F here. So I'm gonna select this one now. Select here, I'm very sure. So now I'm just gonna make it look a bit tiny. I want it to appear just not very much, as little as this. Sorry, I made a mistake. Don't select this one and hold your control key and select this one. Instead, once you have done that, select this from here and select from here so that both of them can be selected. Then you can now go ahead and some kind of make it the way you really like. Why is it affecting one alone and it's not affecting the other? I wonder why that is happening, but no problem. You can do it individually. So we want something like this. Okay, once you have done that, what you need to do now is to right click and go to the row height. It's just 5. Now you just so cancel out. Once you have cancelled out, we come over here now, we right click and we put 5 here and we'll click on OK. That does it for us. So this particular thing is something we put right in here should be deleted. Otherwise it will actually reflect on when we copy. Okay, we have this. It's time for we to go back to our data here and copy this right now. To copy this, all we need to do is just to go over to home. Then we want to copy it alongside with that particular, thing we've actually used to surround it in order to make it some kind of independent. So we just have to make sure we cut it away from here. So Ctrl X, result. So Ctrl V to paste. So we have pasted it here. I'm going to bring it around here. So I'm going to keep this around here. So now I have it around here right now. So the next thing I'm going to do right away is just to make sure this black part here should be taken off. And this particular top, we want to actually make sure we remove it. We don't want this particular top again. We just click on this one because we're going to be creating our own to make it look better. So we remove it at all. We don't want it. Okay, once we have something like this, the next thing I'm going to do is just to make sure I go to this particular top here, insert illustrations. I click over here, I select this one. I bring it over here to actually do this. Can you see it right now? So it blocks everything. You can do Ctrl 1, and with Ctrl 1, no fill. So for the border, you increase the border until it covers what you really want to actually cover. So now it has covered. You can see we have that particular white, square. That means it has covered everything. The next thing you do is to change it to the color of the background, which is this particular color right here. So nobody can tell that we have messed up things right in here right now. Okay, we have this. The next thing I'm going to do is this is my top here at the left hand corner, and at the right hand corner is the button, right? So let's quickly go over here, and this is the top color. So Ctrl C to copy for the result. So over here, we go ahead and paste that link picture. So we can just go ahead and move this one and keep it somewhere around here. If you look at it, it's pretty too much. So we just have to go ahead and reduce it. Let's quickly click back right on this particular part. So click over here and do the reduction like this. So you can have something as thin as this, not very much. So we can still do under copy again. Let's go back, right click, and we paste it. So we can bring this one and have it below this very one here. So now if I select this one now, it doesn't disappear. That was because it has been disconnected. So what should we do? Right click and go to form control, click over here. As you can see, it's linked somewhere around here. So we have to go ahead and change this to this very part. And this time around, it should make the switch. So it has been switched for us, and this one disappears. So what we need to do is to go back here and copy what we have here, Ctrl C. So let's go over to results, and we paste this one in here. So we can now move it to this particular spot. So I want to move it down here. What I'll do, I'll hold my Ctrl key to select, to aim the other one. Okay, I can't aim it yet. Select this one. Now here we go. Select this one and select this one. Now go to the top and align this one to the top. So you now have equal justification. So whenever you select this one now, it's switching. Can you see how it is now? Beautiful. So what is left right now is the text we should actually have for them. So which I believe anyone can do. I'm going to leave that one to you to handle. It's something very simple. So we have just done this one. So let us focus on the number formatting. But before then, we need to have a revenue here. Let's quickly go to the top and click on insert. And here we go over to illustration, the icons. So I'm going to go with this particular one here, then click over here. So keep this somewhere around here. But before then, let us get this one duplicated. Ctrl D, keep this one here, this particular tab. So here we go. Let's go to the top again. This one, insert. I will take the text, drag it down, so we can type in simple sales dashboard. So let's some kind of crank it up a bit. At 20, can still increase it. So let's go with this one. So Ctrl 1 to take off the fill colors. So we can move this one and keep it somewhere around here. Right. So Ctrl D to duplicate it. And this time around, I'm going to type in here total revenue. So make it smaller. So here we go. So this is for total revenue. You can make it a bit smaller like this. Keep this one somewhere around here. And this one, make it a bit smaller. Not very big, but a bit bigger than this one. Okay, we have it here. We can have its color changed. So, too bright. Let's go with this. Nicely done. So we're going to have to duplicate this one. Ctrl D. Keep it somewhere around here. And even stretch it. Go to the top and click on view the formula bar. Unfortunately, we don't have anything that will actually give us what we want. Let's go over here. And over here, I can put in here total. And we use the sum function to sum the total revenue generated for everybody. This is what we have here. So we go to our results and we put an equal sign. So we can go over to the data to pick it. So we have something like this. So with this now, I can decide to like, okay, let me use this same format here. I can just go ahead and copy and give it to this one. So in fact, I want something huge than this one. I can just increase, then that is okay. So here is the value for the total revenue here. So do you get this right now? So select everything and just position it to where you like, somewhere around here. And the next thing I'm going to do is just to click on this one and we copy. We bring this over here. You can stretch and we're going to put by sales persons. Okay. So over here, I'm going to do increase of this text just to this level. So it's going to be right here. So the next thing we have to do right now is to actually put in our caption that actually speaks more about what we have done right here, which is something very simple that you can do. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So can you see this right now? Whenever we change, the color changes as well. So we have to create something like this as well to make sure the chart stand out. So let's do it. Okay, let's go back to this particular part. This is where we have to do the work right in. Okay, the very first thing I have to do is to make sure I get the max total. I'm going to put this one at max total. So here I'm going to put total revenue. So you get it right now. So I'm going to copy this one, drop it right here. So instead of max total, I'm going to put this one to mean total. Mean total. Okay, to do that right now is very simple. It's just for we to use our sum function and sum this environment. We have this. And for this one, we can reference this particular part right here. There is no problems with that. So over here, we'll do the same thing again. So we do this and we sum up this particular part. So here we hit our enter key and we select this one for this, right? So over here, hold the control key to select. So you can do this and can just make sure this one stands out differently, you know, from others, so that people will know that this is different entirely. Okay, we have gotten this done. We have to write caption for this. So what we need next is for we to see what is the percentage of the max. So to do that is just for we to do division between this number and this number. So we do this. So we do the same thing to this one. This divide the mean by what? By the total. And we have this. So with my control key to select both of them, control 1, come over to percentage here and you click on OK. So here is 43.44%, this is 10.25%. So this will not make any sense, and I don't want this one on the chart. I want to make sense with this. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this. I'm thinking, so with this right now, what I'm going to do is to introduce another function to you. The function is called the text join function, to actually bring everything right here together. But you have to brainstorm, how do you want this to come? Before we decide to do anything here, let's go over here and look at what we have done on this one. On this one, it says we are under the top cells. So it says Peter, Greg, Olivia Roberts, and Lucas Gray generated 71.7 million, which accounts for 43.4%. And it mentioned who is actually the first ranking. So how do we come up with this? It depends on what you can do. So let me just flow in my own way of understanding. Then you can decide to come up with your English and how you want to bring this together. So let's quickly do it. So we are back right here. What I'm going to do right now, so what you can do to actually get this done, you can just randomly create a text that would go along with what your story should be like. For example, this one right here. So it says H, I, and J generated $8,000, making up 60% of the total sales, with H holding the top spot out of 5 places. So I just got this generated, written out to actually guide me through on what I could do. So let's see how we can actually use this one to achieve what we want to achieve in an easy way. Okay, the very first thing I have to do is to make sure I come over here. Let's do it in here. So I have a function called text join. So with the text join, I'm actually trying to define my delimiter. So which is a space delimiter, put 2 commas, and it will switch you to the text 1. For text 1, we have to mention this particular top person right here. So right here, we need to some kind of put a comma right for this particular person. So to put this particular comma, we need to actually use ampersand, which is this. Inside it, I'm going to put my comma in it and give a space and put another one. Then we close this. So once we have done that, we have just, done and done with this, right? The next thing is for we to link this one as part of it again. Then we put a comma, and right here we want to have the and inside this particular one. How do we have that? So we just do and. So we go ahead and close this one, then and that ampersand to join it together. So do you see this right now? If I hit my enter key, this is what you have. Can you see? So this and has not joined anything, so we have to make sure it joins something. So what we need to do to make sure it joins something is for we to use under ampersand right here to join this very one. And if I hit my enter key, you now have Peter, Greg, Olivia, Roberts, and Lucas Gray. So with this now, the next thing I have to do is to add the remaining one. So we have actually achieved this particular H, I, and J right here. So now we have to add the remaining part of it. So we have gotten the name. Let's add the remaining part of it. So if I double click now, so I now have this. So whenever you lost the IntelliSense, which is what is showing this to you, that means you have an error. You should actually make sure you know that. So we have this right here, the names. So the next thing we have to do is to make sure we actually add this value. This particular percentage should be concatenate as part of it, and the text that we have here. So to do that now, I'm going to remove this very one here and put a comma. Then this comma switches me to the next one. So I'm going to be using the text function. So with the text function, it's asking me for a value, and this is the value here that is actually peculiar to the top 3, sales reps, and comma. So we do hash, comma, hash, we do this, we close, and that is what we have. So we have just gotten this one. So because we need another comma right now, how do we add that particular comma that we want to add? To add a comma here now, if I add this comma, it helps me to switch into a different text, which means I want to add or concatenate something else. Not that. Instead, I want to actually add a comma. So you have to do this inside here, comma, and do this, and here you go. So we have just done what we want. Can you see it now? So now we just need to add this particular what is that? So we add a comma now, and inside here we just type in making up. So remember, I have a template here. This one here is my template. So making up. Now we log this, we put a comma again, then we use the text function, then we go for the value. This is the percentage here. So put a comma inside here, is going to be 0.0%. We close this. We have this closed now. So we have gotten the percentage right in there. We put in that comma and we type in of the total revenue. So remember, what we are using is revenue, not sales revenue. So once we have done this, it's asking for another comma again. To put in another comma, we have to do what? Ampersand again inside here. So we do this, and finally, the next thing we do is to put in a comma to switch, and here we close. So under comma again, we have to reference the top person. This is the top person right here. That is where we have the H. So we reference this. And once we have done that, we put under comma right here. So inside it is going to be holding the top spots out of. So we have to quickly know how many sales reps we have. So we have 12 sales reps. So out of 12 sales, so I'm going to do sales reps. That is all. We close and we hit our enter key. So what do we have here? Oh, we don't need to have this. So we don't need to have this as well. So here we go. This might look a bit difficult, but if you can actually try to, do it all by yourself by sitting down to look at what it is that I've done here and just take your time to do it, it's going to work for you 100%. This is what we have done for the top. So we're going to be switching between them, right? And we'll create a conditional formatting for them. So let's quickly get this one out here and try to think of what we can do for the bottom part. Okay, right here we have this for, I think, let me just put the So here, this is what we have. I wouldn't read through it. You can read through it. Let me quickly create this for you guys. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to put my equals text join over here, and we do 2 commas. Now we have the first text. So the first text here is going to be the under performance, the underperformance. So the underperformance which is, so I'm going to put this now. Now I have this. Switch to the next one. I have to actually start bringing in their names one after the other. So remember, we need to actually add a comma while we bring this in. So if I just put a comma right here, that will just give me a separation. So I add this and I put in the comma and I add this again. I go ahead and close. This is going to be like this. There is nothing that is separating them. We need something that looks just like what we have here right now. So how do we create something like this? It's very simple. So let's go over again. So I'm going to take this first ones here off. So before my comma comes in, I would like to do this. Right inside here, I'm going to put a comma and do this, and this is what we need, right? So once we have the comma, the text 2, we put in a comma, put in a comma right here. The text 3 should be this particular person, and over here we do under concatenation, we put and inside here. So once we have done that, we put under comma again. The text 4 should be this particular person here. Now, once we have done that, we put a comma again. Inside it, we are going to say generated, and we do comma again. So this time around, we have to use a text function. So the text function, we have to reference how much they generated or contributed. So we put a comma right on it, and over here it's going to be hash, comma, hash, hash. We close this. You get that right now? So once we have this closed, this is where this particular formatting ends. So the next thing is to be adding this, which is, so under comma again, we have to use a format or the text function. If I say format, I'm talking about Power BI, but we are on Excel. So now is the percentage that we want to format. We do 0.0%. So we close this. We'll go ahead and close the bracket. So under comma again. So over here, we're going to do of the total revenue. So we want to use a comma right here. I have actually formatted everything right on the script I'm following. So what I'm going to do now, if I just put comma to switch me, instead of me putting that, I'm going to do here, close, and do this. So comma and switch to the next one. What I'm going to do right now is going to be with, so who ranked lowest. So to put the person that ranked lowest, I'm going to do comma and reference this. So we put in that comma again. It will be at the bottom in among. Let us use among the 12 sales persons. So here we go. So we can hit the enter key. So now something is wrong. If you actually click on OK now, it highlights here for you and it tells you that something is wrong right here. So what is wrong is that we don't have a comma here. Put a comma and hit the enter key. Then we have this. So there is no need for you to keep this one again. What we need to do right now is to create a switch between this particular two right here. So quickly is something very simple, the most simplest part of it. So I'm going to do if, this one here is equal to 1, then I want to have this, otherwise give me this very one here and hit my enter key. I have this top one right here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to actually go to the top again and click on home, then wrap text. So I have my wrap text here, and once I have it, go over here and adjust what you have in here. So let's see. Okay, click on this one and bring this to the top. Here we go. So you can adjust it to give you whatever, feel you want to see. Something like this, right? Okay, now we have this. It is time for we to give a color to it. The first thing we have to do is to go back to our result. This color of the background is what we want, and we already know what color is it. So if you don't know, go ahead and check it out by clicking over to the background part here. And this is 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do it. So we go back again to this part, this part. We go here and we select here, select this very one. So we have it. Okay, what we want to change right now is going to be the color of the text. So for the color of the text, we have to be very consistent, which is very simple. The color is already there. Let's click on this one and go back to home. Then over here, we click on this particular new rule. And if you want to stay there and do everything, you can just go over here and click on manage rules, then click on new rule here, click on this one and see if this one is equal to 1. The only thing you want to change, so let's remove it again. So if this one here is equal to 1, the only thing you want to change is go to format. This border here, we don't want any border. The font color here, click on this one. Now, when it is equal to 1, this is the color we want to see, and we want to have it bold, right? Then click on OK, OK, and you add a new one. So click over here and actually ask if this one is now equal to 2. So what you want to see is gonna be this very color here. This is the color we are using. Then you put it on bold as well. Maybe regular. Let us use regular this time around. We don't want to emphasize it. So we just click on OK. Click on OK. Now we have this very one here. We just go ahead and Ctrl+C to copy. And over here on the result part, we just right click and do this and keep this over here. So what happens when there is a change? So I think what makes sense, a lot of sense now, is for we to change this one here, to make it bold and it to pop out very well. So to do that is just for we to edit what we have here. By going over to this place, we click on this and click on manage rules. And this is the one we want to affect. So let's go over here and give it on bold, not regular. So click on OK, click on OK. OK here, that appears so well. So let's see. So save it to make sure it reflects. If you save it and go back now. So now, here we go. So we have something like this. So this is something close to what we have actually done before. So in a different, it's almost the same thing. So I want to give you an assignment. Please complete this particular part, which is something very simple. With what you have learned, you will be able to do it. So can you see it here? So what I've not added is this particular line I have here, which I could go ahead and help you add. So over here, let's go back to this particular part. You can decide to click over here and extend this one, right, like this. Then let's go back to result. So the result, so Ctrl+S to save, go back to your result. It has been updated. So to have that line, go to insert illustrations, shapes, and click on the line. Hold the shift key to have the perfect line drawn for you. Release, Ctrl+1. So we go to here and we select this. So we have a line that looks like this. So tell me, what are the difference? Not much. So if you want to show and look bold, all you need to do is just to go back again and make sure you come back here to this part and click over here, you actually crank up this one itself. Let us use this and see. So save it. Let's go back. So can you see it now? So which means we have to bring this one down a little bit. So with this, we can go over here now. So we can now click on this one to extend it. And this will look normal. Let's go back by clicking on save. We go back to results. Yeah, this is it. So we have what we really want. So this one looks bold and you don't have to struggle to read what you have right here. So this is exactly what we have done. If you're still watching, you're actually, one of my wonderful subscribers. Please do try to create this particular part. It's something very simple that anyone can create. So try to do that and let me know what you actually feel about this video. Thanks for watching. See you in my other videos.